Hit by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch and row by row, someone blessed these seeds I sow, and someone warmed them from below till the rains come tumbling down.
Okay guys, I guess it's been about 10 days, so I'll give you a little bit more of an update. After I made that last video and it was spring-like, it rained and snowed for 10 days, cold, down below freezing. So everything is kind of not really taken off as quick as it would if it had a lot of direct sunshine, but I'm going to try to show you a little bit about what's happened. These are Brandywine tomatoes that are all up and doing well. Romas, the same way. I have zucchini squash here. Up top I have more, there's no plant, these I just all planted, although I do have a bunch of Brussels sprouts, baby Brussels sprouts. Trying to get like I say, there's not a lot of room, but these are all a variety of things, really. Flowers. In this pot, some summer squash. I got quite a lot of zinnias. These are more Brussels sprouts. These are Brussels sprouts here, you can see. And this is squash, more squash, more flowers. These are babies too here, and marigolds. Like I said, I plant a lot of marigolds. I have bunching onions up top, and zinnias, and more marigolds, and cosmos. These are all flowers, for those of you who don't know. And I have a lot more seeds planted that haven't come up. These are cucumbers that are just coming up here. This is more cauliflower and more Brussels sprouts, which I eat a lot of both of those things. And anyway, everything's really starting to catch on pretty good. It's just we need sunshine. It's been really shitty weather, to say the least. But it's warmed up a little bit today. It's above freezing anyway, and I have, the snow's melting, so I'll be able to get outside and get working here hopefully next week. But we'll see. Anyway, that's where the plants are. Now I'm going to do some transplanting here, and I think I'll just visit with you a few minutes and kind of cover some things that I didn't cover. So I'll get back to you in just a moment. Hey guys, I'm going to do a little transplanting here, and I thought maybe I'd just talk to you a little bit. There's a couple of things that I failed to mention before that I was going to bring up. One of them is, when I transplant my little plants out of the flats and into the containers that they're going to be in, some of them until I put them in the ground, I only fill those containers up about 2/3 of the way with the mixture of garden soil and compost and manure. That way, as they get bigger, I can add more dirt, and when I do add more, it's richer. It's got more manure in it than mixed prior to that. Again, it's not science, you just figure they need a little bit more to eat in, so you add a little bit more manure to what I mix it in my wheelbarrow. And then, especially things like the cold crops like broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, and those of you who've grown those realize they get real spindly looking, They get a long stem on them. They almost looks like they're going to get root rot or something. Which I've transplanted them in that condition, and they've grown to be extremely healthy plants. But I like to be able to add more dirt to the tomatoes again, because then they'll, you know, if you can, as it grows up and you add more dirt, then you're going to get more roots, where the roots will actually come out of the stalk. Another thing I wanted to add that I didn't mention before, when I was talking about mixing up soil to plant into from your flats, I think I said mix part garden soil, part compost, and part old manure. Now, the guy, my friend that I get my manure from, he raises Hereford bulls out here, and his feedlot is all sand. So when he takes his tractor and swings out those feedlots, he digs up a lot of sand, takes it over across the road there, and it you know, sets a piles for a couple of years before I get it. But there's a lot of sand in there. So if you have access to sand, when you're mixing up about, you know, a wheelbarrow full of dirt to put in your plants, add some sand. It never hurts. In an optimum condition, that would be the, you know, the way it is. There's a few more things. I've seen some videos lately where someone was talking about how you have to use tepid water. You know, you don't want to use cold water. You don't want to get the leaves wet on certain plants. You know, all that's fine and good in the books. Doesn't work for me. My plants get county water, which has got all the bad shit in it. It's got the sodium fluoride, it's got the chlorine, it's got all the shit, you know, in it that shouldn't be. But the way I look at it, I have to drink it, so they can drink it too. And it's ice cold, very cold, and I cover everything. I water them with my hose and sprinkler on it, so you know that all leaves get wet. I've never found anything wrong with that. I've never had it stunt the growth or do, you know, any ill effects from doing that. I mean, and let's face it, do you want to grow a bunch of wimp plants, or do you want to have them tough when you put them outside? South Dakota is a harsh place. You know, typically speaking, people will build a cold frame and they'll take their plants out of their secure heating pads or their, you know, greenhouse or whatever, and they'll put it out into cold frames to get them adjusted to cooler weather. Well, mine get adjusted to cooler weather. This temperature in this greenhouse goes from anywhere from 40 degrees to 80 degrees in any given 24-hour period. So by the time I put them outdoors, they're pretty much adjusted to all kinds of weather swings. You know, I kind of get screwed up on my watering sometimes because some stuff will look dry, so I'll water that, and you know, I'll come back a few days later and water something else. So I never really know what needs water and what doesn't. So sometimes I might give them a little too much, or you know, not quite enough water. Again, doesn't hurt them. If it does, you know, you're going to see it. If the plant needs water, you're going to see it because it's going to start wilting and dry, you know, drooping and stuff. But I saw one guy using an eyedropper, and I said to myself, I said, Jesus, you know, I've gone through probably, well, I've actually filled that barrel up and filled it a third up again. So that's like, you know, 70 gallons of water, let's say. It's about 3/4 gone now. Quite a bit of that went on the floor when I was water, but, you know, I've used well over 30 gallons of water in here. That's a lot of water if you're going to put it through an eyedropper. Those are just a couple of things I wanted to mention. Again, you don't have to follow the rules. Mother Nature, these are, you know, they're going to grow. You know, they want to grow. That's what they're here on this planet for. And the only way you're going to stop them from growing is if you really try. I'm not getting much transplanting done, but I'm just enjoying talking to you. I think, you know, I've been getting quite a lot of questions in my mails and comments and stuff about different things, and I think what I'm going to do is kind of open up a forum for that purpose. If anybody's got specific questions, and then when I make an update video, I'll answer those questions specifically. One of the guys that I subscribe to and you know from YT, Dr. Freeman, I think it's a guy, maybe a girl, I don't know, but anyway, they sent me a question last week about what vegetable would I say was good for digestion and what is good for eyesight. Well, hell, since I grew up, I've been told carrots were good for the eyes, and maybe I ought to eat more of them because my eyes are certainly getting worse as I get older. And cabbage works for me, and I have ulcerative colitis. But I love cabbage and Brussels sprouts and that kind of thing, so I eat a lot of it, and it really seems to help. Plus, against all rules, I drink a lot of milk, and that takes care of my digestion problems well. You know, I have so many eggs that what I do is I mix up these containers full of eggnog that hold about maybe a quart and a half, and I freeze them. And I put a lot of eggs, like in a quart and a half I might have a dozen eggs in there, but I drink that stuff religiously every day. It goes great with peanut butter and jelly. Of course, there's white sugar in it. You know, like I say, I break all the rules, but you know, that works for me. And I might add, my milk comes directly from the cow. There's no pasteurization. No, I have my milk girl who brings it here and puts it in my refrigerator every Friday. You know, it's got usually about, it's a gallon jar, and it's got usually about 3 inches of cream, which if we have a reason to use the cream for something, if I'm going to make chowders or something, you know, I'll take that cream off and save it. But generally, I just mix it up and drink it, you know, so I'm getting huge amounts of dairy products, which, you know, Dr. Mike will say is terrible for you, but it works for me. Everybody's physiology is a little bit different, and I've had stomach problems to the max. But anyway, back to the forum. So if some of y'all have questions, just, you know, I'll answer them the best I can. I'm certainly not a doctor, you know, but I mean, I do know more specifically about certain traits and certain things with vegetables, companion planting, how to get rid of with bugs and shit without using chemicals, just different things like that I've gained from doing this for so many years. Hopefully I'll be outdoors this coming week if this friggin' weather would stop. It's been horrible. I spoke too soon. I never should have made that video, because once I did, that was it. It went to hell the next day, and it's been like that for 10 days. But, you know, spring's got to happen. And before I know it, it'll be so goddamn hot, I can't stand it. You know, it gets really hot in South Dakota. You know, they didn't tell me that in the travel booth brochure before I moved here. Nobody told me, you know, I see summer days of 116, 18 degrees. But it happens. And, of course, I'm surrounded by corn, so you get a tremendous amount of humidity as well. I mean, I moved here from South Florida to escape those hot summers, and boy, I jumped right from the frying pan into the fire, if you will. I've gotten used to it, but during the heat of the day, you kind of like to stay out of it if you can. I got an air conditioner right in my shop here, and I'll come in here and read for a couple hours when it's really hot. But I'm really anxious to get outside, and I'm sure all of you that live in the northern climates are too. And it's coming. You know, keep the faith. I don't know what's going on with the radiation. I watched Dutch Sense and, you know, different people that kind of cover this stuff. And as far as I can see, if I listen to the people on YouTube, the shit's coming right over my head. I wish they had, you know, I have means of checking my pH and my NPK. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate. It's the 3 major elements you need in your soil, along with trace elements. Never forget the trace elements.